The 5-second exposure of NGC 2359, otherwise known as Thor's helmet, as our kickoff view for the evening. And tonight, another fine, solid night, although there may be a little fewer high-thin clouds present than the last. I'll give you okay, punched in a letter. Last night, we covered everything from NGC 2300 to NGC 2399, and I hope to repeat that tonight from everything from 2400 to 2499. Of course, I'll have to skip anything further north than 45 degrees declination or anything south of -30. But looking at this view right here of NGC 2359 and Nebula Canis Majoris, which was blocked by or diminished by one of these diffractions from the power lines last night, I think we're getting a pretty good view as it is. We've got 20 stacks. I left it running for quite a while I was indoors. I'll give you the data. It's a nebula in Canis Majoris, Thor's helmet. It's not here on the handle on the Gemini 2 controller. I did look that up. 10 by 5 arc minutes in size, magnitude 11 cumulatively. That's a pretty hefty I'd say 10 by 50, you take 50, that's about 3 magnitudes. It's got an average surface brightness of about magnitude 14.5. It's an emissive type nebula, 15,000 light years distant. Now keep in mind that's some 10 times plus the Great Nebula in Orion. It's at right ascension 7 hours 18 minutes 30 seconds with a declination of -13 degrees 13 minutes 36 seconds. And I would just have to say it looks more like a cupped hand than a helmet, but that's because we're looking at it from a different point of view, and you can easily visualize maybe a head, the torso here upside down, comprising this 5-second 30-inch effective aperture view of NGC 3359 to kick off the 2400 to 2449 series this evening. What we're seeing behind this power line diffraction light is NGC 2401. 2400 was actually listed as a star. NGC 2401, once I call it up here, I was a little remiss in not calling it up first, is actually an open cluster in Puppis, magnitude 12.6, a mere 2 arc minutes in size. We're definitely going to have to run up the magnification here a bit, and I do believe that is our study right there. Some 20 stars, class 2-3, 19,200 light years distant. That's a ways off for an open cluster. RA is 72924 with a declination of -1358 odd. There's our NGC 2401 view in the 2449 up to 2449 potentially series. Okay, we're looking for NGC 2402. It is a galaxy in the little dog Canis Minoris, and I think we can make it out quite nicely there. Let's push it up to our 105x view. It's embroiled with some stars. There's actually a little loop of nebulosity that normally you don't see with a galaxy that looks kind of edge-on. Although this one is magnitude 15.5, so as an elliptical, it's probably magnitude 14, which makes sense. 1.2 by 1.2 face on, so it's got some irregularities to it. I have to look that up. AdventuresInDeepSpace.com to get a description if you wish. It's 239 million light years distant, puts it at about 80,000 light years in diameter. RA is 73046 with a declination of 9 plus 9, 3848. Let's push the magnification up. I did set the focus. Stars look pretty good. There's our view. And yes, there's probably a faint galaxy located very close, which we should be turning up shortly. NGC 2405 is another galaxy a bit further north in Gemini. Magnitude 14.5, 0.5 by 0.3 arc minutes, simply described as a spiral 253 million light years distant, puts this maybe at about 35,000 light years in diameter. RA is 73214 with a declination of plus 25, 54, 21. And simply because it's listed as a spiral, we don't get a sense of the morphology in terms of the Hubble Divaculaire system. But looking at this, there might be two galaxies here. I don't know, but this is a fairly faint, small version of a galaxy, which should have a fairly intense average surface brightness, however, due to its small size. Let's push it up a little bit at 100%. E-zoom 150x. NGC 2406 is another galaxy in Gemini, but it's not the one that was close, proximal to the last one. The scope did shift quite a bit. Stars look really good tonight. I think must have nailed the focus. I did it on Jupiter. Not much to be seeing though, however. This is a magnitude 15, 0.7 by 0.6 elliptical. Could be this one. Oh, this one's a little fainter. This one's a little tighter. This one might be a little larger. There's another faint nebulous galaxy here, probably a foreground galaxy. This one is 374 million light years distant, so probably somewhere around 90,000 light years in diameter. We're at RA 73147 with a declination of plus 18 degrees, 17 minutes, 15 seconds. Look it up on Adventures in Deep Space .com. Steve Gottlieb can give you some guidance as to which galaxy is, in fact, NGC 2406. Of course, if the next galaxy that pops up is a neighbor, generally you can assume that it's going to be further towards the top of the screen from the previous view, because that's further east, but that doesn't always play out. Here we have NGC 2407, Galaxy in Gemini. This is probably the one that we're looking at now. It's further east, but it's also brighter. Magnitude 13.4, 1.1 by 1 arc minute, lenticular spiral, so pretty much face on. 375 million light years distant, puts it about 110,000 light years in diameter. RA is 73156 with a declination of plus 18 degrees, 19 minutes, 58 seconds. NGC 2409 is further south now. It is an open cluster in Puppis. I think it's quite obvious right there. Magnitude 8, a mere 2.5 arc minutes in size, 2,800 light years distant. RA 73137 with a declination of minus 17, 1139. There is no descriptor information as to this particular open cluster in particular. Maybe it wasn't really considered one. NGC 2410 is a galaxy in Gemini. And we can see a brightish one there. It's magnitude 13, so this is probably our study. Spiral with a bar and a lowercase b, 214 million light years distant, 2.4 by 0.7 arc minutes, puts this one larger than Messier 31, probably about 160,000 light years in diameter. We're at RA 73502 with a declination of plus 32, 49, 21. Let's see if we can pump it up a little bit. 100% E-zoom gives a good view, especially after a good focus in nice stable skies. NGC 2411 is another galaxy, but further south of Gemini. It's magnitude 14.5, 0.9 by 0.5 arc minutes, elliptical. I think it's pretty obvious in the field. It's 230 million light years distant, meaning it's probably around 70,000 light years in diameter. RA is 73436 with a declination of plus 18, 1652. Okay, back down to the power lines in the galactic plane for another nondescript open cluster. Let's get the data. It's in Puppis. So we're back pretty much in the confines of the Milky Way galaxy. 10 arc minutes in size, 1,400 light years distant. No descriptive titles, Latin versus numeric Arabic numbers. RA is 73316 with a declination of minus 130542. Also in Puppis, but a little further away. I couldn't tell which way it's looking. I don't really have memory of the last information. we got this nice gull-wing-shaped open cluster, NGC 2414, in Puppis. Magnitude 7.94 arc minutes in size, 35 stars. The brightest is magnitude 8.2, maybe a foreground star, if that's included in the 7.9 with 35 stars. It gets a little weird. However, there is a descriptor, and I wish I could remember the name of the astronomer who came up with the scheme. Sooner or later, it will stick with me. It's a class 1, Latin 3, so compact but disparate magnitudes, 11,300 light years distant, RA 73312, declination minus 15, 27, and 12. Okay, no power line diffraction here because we've gone north to NGC 2415, a galaxy in Lynx. It's magnitude 12.4. Wow, that is a really compact brightness galaxy. If indeed it's a galaxy. Well, it's 0.9 by 0.9 arc minutes, but it's described as an irregular. May have had all of its outside gases and dust stripped away from it. Who knows? Maybe there's just a core left. 172 million light years distant, which means it's probably somewhere around 60,000 light years in diameter. RA is 736.56 with a declination of plus 35 degrees, 14 minutes, 31 seconds. I believe this is our 150x view, and not a bad one at that. NGC 2416 is a galaxy in Canis Minoris. Magnitude 13.4, 1 by 0.7 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase c. You can see it there in the field. Everything seems to be popping pretty regularly tonight because we have a nice transparent sky. It's a 229 million light years distant, probably puts it at about 70,000 light years in diameter, maybe 60. Right ascension is 735.41 with a declination of plus 11 degrees, 36 minutes, 43 seconds. NGC 2418 is quite obvious on the screen, which typically means it's brighter than magnitude 14 a little bit. And this galaxy is in Gemini, nice part sky, middle third, magnitude 12.2, 1.8 by 1.8 elliptical, a class O because its aspect ratio is 1:1. 228 million light years distant, puts that at about 130,000 light years in diameter. RA 736.37 with a declination of plus 17, 53.02. Here's our 105x best balanced view. NGC 2419 is not a galaxy, it's a globular cluster in Lynx. I do believe this is the intergalactic wanderer, and we'll be able to tell by its distance. This is a magnitude 10.4, 6.2 arc minutes in diameter, and we seem to be getting some stellar resolution. However, its brightest stars are magnitude 17.3. I'll have to push it all the way up to 150x to confirm some of the stars, and I do believe they are there. It's a class 1-1, which means incredibly condensed with incredibly condensed globular clusters. Not exactly the same as the open clusters. 268,000 light years distant. And as I understand this, one's slowly spiraling into our Milky Way galaxy. We're at RA 738.08 with a declination of plus 38 degrees, 52 minutes, 53 seconds. I have turned this up in a 6-inch scope. It's very vague, but it can be seen on a good, transparent night of seeing. And I do believe we are getting some stellar resolution, which, if this is correct, we are seeing stars to magnitude 17.3 at minimum. Ooh, what a sweet open cluster. This one's in Gemini, NGC 2420. Ooh, very sweet. Let's push it up to 105x and let it sit. It's magnitude 8.3, 10 arc minutes in size, 100 stars. Just got my satellites. Its brightest stars are magnitude 11.1. It's a class 1, highly condensed, 2, disparate, moderately disparate magnitude stars, 8,100 light years distant. RA is 738.23 with a declination of plus 21 degrees, 34 minutes, 24 seconds. Sorry about that satellite passage, folks. But if it had taken a right angle turn, I'd be pretty excited about it. Another fine open cluster. This is NGC 2421 in Puppis. Not nearly as distinguished, but look at those two bright stars right there. Total magnitude is 8.3, 10 arc minutes in size. I'm going to back off just a wee bit. Gives a better view at 75x. 70 stars, magnitude 10.4 is the brightest. It's probably those two right in the foreground there. Class 1, 2, 7,200 light years distant, compact, with moderate amount of disparity in magnitudes. RA is 73613, and a declination of minus 20 degrees, 36 minutes, 42 seconds, which is probably why I could not push the magnification up. The delta in magnitude is 2, which is typical of a type 2, Arabic 2 description cluster. NGC 2422 is another open cluster in Puppis. This one is magnitude 4.4, 30 arc minutes in size, moon size, 30 stars, the brightest of which is magnitude 5.7. It's a class 3-2, 1,600 light years distant. It has another name, Messier 47. RA 7, 3635, declination minus 1429 and 0 seconds. NGC 2423 is not far from 2422. It's a more diffuse cluster, magnitude 6.7, 19 arc minutes in size, 40 stars. The brightest is magnitude 9, which is 2.3 magnitude delta. It's a class 4 Latin 2, so it's not very well distinguished, but the stars are of reasonable magnitudal difference. 2,500 light years distant. RA 73706, declination minus 1352, 8. Okay, I've used this intro before. In the year 2424. And there is our globular cluster there. What a nice looking edge-on spiral. Magnitude 12.6. It's in Lynx galaxy, of course. 3.6 by 0.5 arc minutes. Another 7-to-1 aspect ratio. Purely edge-on spiral. Spiral with a bar, lowercase b. Brightest core. Moderately bright core. 148 million light years distant puts this one at about 180,000 light years in diameter. RA is 74039 with a declination of plus 39 degrees, 13 minutes and 58 seconds. I'm going to push it all the way up to 100x center. Allow those controls to disappear and then bail. Okay, got to move quickly now. NGC 2425 is an open cluster in Puppis. 3.3 arc minutes in size, 30 stars. Brightest is magnitude 14. It's a class 3-2, 12,400 light years distant. RA 7, 3817, with a declination of minus 14 degrees, 52 minutes, and 42 seconds. NGC 2428 is an open cluster again in the Puppis. 6 arc minutes in size. Hard to discern. 6,800 light years distant. RA 73921. Declination minus 163142. NGC 2432 is another open cluster in Puppis. Magnitude 10.2, 8 arc minutes in size, some 50 stars. It's a class 2-1, so the stars are all relatively the same magnitude. 6,200 light years distant. RA 74053. Declination minus 190436. NGC 2435 is a galaxy in Gemini. You can see it right, a galaxy right there. Let's confirm it. Magnitude 12.8, 2.2 by 0.5 arc minute. This one requires a little more magnification to bring out its extensions. Spiral with a lowercase a, 191 million light years distant, so maybe 110,000. Right ascension 74413, declination plus 313902. You'll probably note I've had quite a few skippages thus far. Ooh, we got a planetary nebula in an open cluster, and that's due to the fact many were too far north or bogus. NGC 2437 is this open cluster in Puppis. It's also known, aka, it's a Messier 46, magnitude 6.1, 27 arc minutes in size, highly populated, 100 stars, magnitude 8.7 stars, the brightest a class 3-2. I don't know why it's a class 3. It seems pretty obvious to me, but maybe because it doesn't seem to have a frontier. 4,700 light years distant, RA 74146, declination minus 14, 4836. Okay, our next stop was that planetary nebula. Let's push it up first and center. In Puppis, of course, it's magnitude 11 totally, 65 arc seconds in size, pretty much perfectly round. The central star is magnitude 17.5. Makes no sense to me because it's very obvious. The sky can't be that good tonight. 4,000 light years distant. RA is 741.50 with a declination of minus 1444 and 06. Here is the maximum amount of light we can bring to bear at 100% E-zoom. NGC 2439 is another one of those open clusters in the galactic plane area, Puppis, magnitude 6.9, 10 arc minutes, 80 stars, 8.9 is the brightest. It's a class 2-3, 4,200 light years distant, RA 740.45 with a declination of minus, whoa, I went down there and that looks that good, minus 31 degrees, 41 minutes and 36 seconds. Fabulous view that far south. NGC 2440 is another planetary nebula in Puppis, magnitude 11.5. This may be one we've already imaged as a different number. No, they're not saying that. 54 by 20 arc seconds, magnitude 17.5 central star. I cannot believe this. That's way too deep. I am using only 5-second exposures. 4,400 light years distant, RA 741.55 with a declination of minus 18 degrees, 12 and 31. NGC 2440. Okay, I think we're getting a little roof tri-reflected light, but anyway, we are looking for a galaxy, and I do see something suggestive there. In lengths, magnitude 13.2, 1.2 by 0.8 arc minutes, a lenticular spiral. That doesn't quite look lenticular to me. What else could be up there? I'm not seeing it. There is a fainter galaxy there, but neither of these look lenticular. Maybe it's that one there. 1.2 by 0.8 arc minute, lenticular, 183 million light years distance, smallish, maybe 65,000 light years in diameter. RA is 746.53 with a declination of plus 39 degrees, 1 minute and 55 seconds. Let's make sure we get that 105x view. Okay, yes, Matilda, NGC 2444 had a neighbor, NGC 2445, barely a click away, magnitude 13.3, 1.4 by 1.1 arc minutes. It has a ring, and I do believe we're seeing a ring there. It's not saying what type galaxy it is, though. Interesting. 178 million light years distant, another 75,000 light years in diameter type. RA is 746.55 with a declination of plus 39 degrees and 55 seconds. We've had 20 stacks on this one, although they keep diminishing down in terms of the amount of contrast you get in brightness over time. Ooh, a very nice sprinkling of stars here with NGC 2447. It's an open cluster in Puppis. Magnitude 8.2, it's a class 4-1, 3,400 light years distant. RA 744.30 with a declination of minus 23 degrees, 51 minutes and 24 seconds. It is also known as Messier 93. NGC 2448 is another open cluster in Puppis, a mere 5 arc minutes in size. Don't ask me where it is, though. It's got no specificity associated with it, except its distance of 3,400 light years. RA is 744.34 with a declination of minus 24 degrees, 40 minutes, 51 seconds. Okay, our last in Carpe Noctem study of the evening is a galaxy you can see in the 30x field, NGC 2449 in Gemini. Its magnitude 13.4, 1.3 by 0.6 arc minutes in size. Centering has been pretty good tonight in tracking. Spiral with a lowercase ab, 218 million light years distant, maybe 60,000 light years in diameter. RA 74720 with a declination of plus 26 degrees, 55 minutes, 49 seconds. Now we're going to call this our Carpe Noctem view for the evening. There's a group of galaxies here. I'll bet you we're going to turn this one up as part of the next group, the 2450 to 2499. I am going to cover the further north galaxies first because I'm going to start getting roof tri blockages, and then I'll go back down deep south and take it over. So anything above, let's say 25 degrees north of latitude, I am going to cover first in the NGC 2450 to 2499 series. And with that said, 25 minutes and 38 seconds into this video, I am going to proclaim Carpe Noctem.